Today on the channel, we're back again as we continue the best of 2024 countdown videos. And today we got another new video. We got my top 5 WWE Mattel Elite Build-A-Figures of 2024.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for a best of 2024 top 5 countdown. In today's video, we're counting down my top 5 Build-A-Figures of 2024 from the WWE Mattel Elite brand. Now, Build-A-Figures I usually think of first in my brain with Marvel Legends, and if we've seen in 2024, Marvel Legends has pushed away from the Build-A-Figures. I think they only had like 3 Build-A-Figures this year, so I couldn't even do a countdown, and that's usually one of the countdowns we do every year is top 5 Build-A-Figures. Not going to be able to do that over here. However, Mattel helping us out, Mattel letting us do a top 5 Build-A-Figure this year, and this was truly the year of Build-A-Figures for Mattel. Now, Mattel is no stranger to Build-A-Figures. Going all the way back to the Toys R Us days, we had Build-A-Figures, and I've always been a champion of Build-A-Figures. Putting my business hat on, it's a great way to get the consumer to buy a figure or two maybe they weren't planning on buying just to complete the Build-A-Figure. So I think it is a good business model. I like it being used every once in a while. It shouldn't be every single wave ever, but I think Mattel has done a very good job this year, and it's also helped get us characters that maybe we'd never get on our own. We could get them as a Build-A-Figure, and it's a way to get a figure that wouldn't otherwise. And I think that is a fun aspect of Build-A-Figures, be it Marvel Legends, in the case we were talking about, or Mattel. So a lot of fun ones this year. Of course, historically, in the last few years, the Build-A-Figures have been part of the pay-per-view series. However, this year have also been incorporated into the WWE Monday Night Wars line, the Walmart exclusive line. So some amazing Build-A-Figures coming out of that you will see in this very list. And of course, this list is my list, so it's 100% right, but yours could be 100% right as well if you put your list in the comments. And remember, top 5 list, number 5, work our way to number 1. Number 1 is your number 1 Build-A-Figure of 2024. So without further ado, let's get after it. Let's hit up number 5. We begin the countdown, of course, at number 5, and number 5 is one of those authority figures, and those work very well as a Build-A-Figure and possibly a main event basic style figure, but in this case, we got him as a Build-A-Figure. Who are we talking about? Well, we're talking about Scrap Daddy himself, Raw General Manager, Adam Pearce, first time in the line. Now, a lot of people did that little hack with this one is they bought the figure to get the head, used a suited basic main event figure. Voila, you got a very easy Adam Pearce, and you could easily go that route if you wanted to. But I'm happy we got an Adam Pearce. He is on TV every single week. Have to imagine next year or maybe early 2026, we'll see a Build-A-Figure of Nick Aldis as well. And I would love to see Nick Aldis lace up the boots one time in the WWE. Same thing with Adam Pearce. I always love it when authority figures wrestle, especially if they're former wrestlers, one last run. Getting a hot feud with somebody, they got to settle it in the ring. Maybe they don't go over with the big win, but it'd be very cool to see Adam Pearce or Nick Aldis maybe square off against each other, or maybe at Survivor Series. Who knows? But I really do like this Adam Pearce figure for what it is. Not going to change anybody's life, but it is very cool that Adam Pearce did get represented in figure form. And like I said, he's on TV every single week, so we definitely needed this. So Adam Pearce coming in at number 5 on the best of list. We've hit the number 4 spot in the Build-A-Figure countdown list, and the number 4 selection is a figure I've wanted for a long time. I have all of his basics back in the day. I got all of his Jakks figures back in the day, and I was always hopeful we would get some more from the Mattel line. Well, we finally got it this year. While not perfect, still a very fun figure. Who are we talking about? We're talking about that Punjabi playboy. We're talking about the Great Khali. Yes, I wish he was a little bit taller, like a young Too Short out there, but he is on his way. He's a growing boy for sure, and I would not be shocked to see this in the future, maybe with the black pants on or a different color, different design. I could see that in the future. Maybe get another stab at the Great Khali. We'll see what happens, but I would love to see him a little bit taller. Just a little bit taller would be great for Khali, but man, I do like this figure. I love my giant wrestler. wrestlers. Say what you want about Khali. He was one of those guys you had to see. Maybe not the greatest in the ring. I think we'd all agree on that. But anytime you get to see a monster, a giant like this, it is a pretty cool thing to see. Very cool to have him back in the line as a Build-A-Figure. And I would imagine down the road we'll see a traditional Elite, Legend, something like that of Khali. But for now, he's hitting up number 4 in the top 5 countdown. We've hit the halfway countdown to the Build-A-Figure countdown. You got your list together, put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. While you're here, we got tons of best of videos as we close out 2024 and into 2025. But the number 3 selection, dare I say, is probably just too sweet. Who are we talking about? We're talking about Virgil, Mike Jones, Soul Train. We're talking about Vincent himself. We got Vincent, of course, the bodyguard of the NWO. A perfect guy for, of course, a Build-A-Figure. I don't know how well he'd sell by himself, but as a Build-A-Figure, really seemed to work out very well. And one of the kings of Build-A-Figures seemingly here is, of course, the old Virgil. But very fun, a very easy figure to make, as you can imagine. A lot of people made customs that they immediately threw to the side to dive in for this one. But as we're building out that NWO shelf, we're trying to get that B team going. We're missing a lot of people. Buff Bagwell, Scott Norton, Ray Traylor. There's a lot we're missing over the years. But hopefully, through the years coming up, we can get the rest of those characters, be them as regular Elites or even Build-A-Figures. But very cool to get Vincent here, one that definitely warranted a spot in this countdown, and he comes in at number 3. Closer and closer to the top spot, we're at the number 2 Build-A-Figure of 2024, and this guy, one of the greatest performers of all time, Hall of Famer all the time, father of one Cody Rhodes. We're talking about the American Dream. We're talking about Dusty Rhodes at number 2. During his stint in the NWO, oh my gosh, and it's funny how many people forget that brief stint in the NWO. It wasn't actually that brief. He just wasn't on TV a ton. Felt very forced, felt very strange at the time, but if you're building out everybody, you got to have things like this, and I'm happy we got this. I put these pairs perfectly with the Ultimate Scott Hall and Kevin Nash we got. Looks really cool, of course, the Wolf Pack there. But Dusty Rhodes, a favorite of many, in a deep, deep cut for Dusty, but bring on all the Dusty Rhodes figures. I'm here for all of them, even an NWO version here, part of the Monday Night Wars Build-A-Figure set. A lot of people nitpick some of this, some of the wrist tape things. It is what it is, but it is a late in the model year career, whatever you want to call it, of Dusty Rhodes. Would love to see another old Dusty Rhodes from his time with Cody and Dustin. Very end of his career. You could almost make it ECW Dusty Rhodes as well. I feel like they could easily do that, and I hope we see that in the future. Bring on all the Dusty figures for me, and we're on the way to the Target Ultimate one about a month or 2 away from hitting shelves, so we'll be on the lookout for that as well. But very cool to get a Dusty figure in his NWO gear, and that's why it comes in at number 2, which means there's only one left. Who is the number 1 Build-A-Figure of 2024 voted by me? Stay tuned. We've hit the top spot. We've hit the number 1 Build-A-Figure from WWE in 2024. Once again, get your list together. Put it in the comments. Put it in order. That's the hard part. That's the fun part. And thumbs up this video while you're here. So here we are, the number 1 Build-A-Figure of 2024. When I put this list together, this immediately was number 1. Nothing changed. He was number 1 from the beginning all the way to the end right now. And the number 1 Build-A-Figure for 2024, once again, we go to the NWO. This time we go to Brother Brudai. We go to the Disciple, of course, the former Booty Man, the former Ed Leslie, the former Brutus the Barber Beefcake. It is the Disciple, really the Hulkster's right-hand man, and you could also put him with the One Warrior Nation if you want to for a brief amount of time. But the Disciple, a very cool looking figure here, and it's amazing to me how many people, when this came out, even in the comments of my video, were shocked to find out this was Brutus Beefcake once upon a time. So kudos to Ed Leslie for getting that done, really changing up his look and really hitting the gym and a few other things to make himself look like the Disciple. But a fabulous looking figure, a very fun figure, a very cool figure here is this Disciple. I think this will be one of the most valuable Build-A-Figures on the aftermarket because you think of Hulk Hogan in WCW and the NWO, you think of the Disciple being by his side all the time. And of course, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Eric Bischoff, the other ones, but the Disciple was around for a heck of a long time, and very cool to see him in action figure form. And I really think this one would have sold okay on its own, but making it a Build-A-Figure makes it that much more of a challenge, especially especially with that Monday Night Wars line. Have to imagine this is going to be one of those figures that will command some extra value on the aftermarket for years to come, because it is a fabulous figure, and it's not as deep cut as I think some people think it is. So the Disciple, easily for me, the #1 Build-A-Figure of 2024. And that's it. What's your list look like? Once again, put it in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to both of my YouTube channels. 2 channels with content every single day. Check out the Patreon for even more content, early access to everything I do. ProWrestlingTees.com, search Kyle Peterson. My book, now available on Kindle. It is a complete guide to the Jakks Class Superstars series. Sir Paul 64 on the X, the _Kyle _Peterson on Threads, and on Instagram, and now on TikTok. So, for the top 5 Build-A-Figures of 2024, I am Kyle. See you guys all real soon.